Let me tell you what we're going to talk about for the next 45 minutes or so. The science of doing the right thing, why we make poor decisions, and what we can do about it. Quick roadmap for those of you that need it. For a little bit, we'll talk about behavioral science, behave, decision-making science. I'll explain what that is and why that matters. Part 2, we'll talk about some of the fudge factors that lead us to perhaps make unethical decisions. And then in Part 3, I'll give you some more tools to help land at ethical outcomes. There's an old story about a desert island. 3 people stranded on the desert island, an economist, a geologist, and a physicist. There's one can of food. They can't open it. The geologist says, let's smash it with a rock and get it open. The physicist says, no, let's rub it on the ground till it heats up and pops open. The economist says, let's just assume we have a can opener. That's traditional economics. You guys know what happens when you assume. So for me, it didn't click. And that's why I sort of sought out this alternative explanation. And now it's becoming a bigger thing. Behavioral science. It folds in human psychology, the way we really act, into traditional economics. And it explains why we make such poor value judgments. Right? And value judgments happen in all realms of our life. They happen in financial spending, they happen in healthcare, exercise, in our home, in our relationships, and of course in our ethical decision-making. And ethical decisions are value judgments. Ethical decisions are value judgments. We weigh what is the best thing to do. Right? Should I murder somebody? Or should I stay in line at the DMV? Like, you know, it's a tough call. But we're prone to these decision-making mistakes, and, you know, that can be a problem when we're especially facing stress, uncertainty, and change. And I'm going to repeat those 3 words because I know in your work, I don't know it intimately, but I know like sometimes you got an hour lunch meeting that suddenly becomes a 5-minute meeting in an elevator while someone's going to another thing, and you're on the fly, you're changing, right? You've had 10 meetings in a day. Like, you're in situations that are fluid and changing all the time. So there's stress, there's change and uncertainty. And I want to emphasize that none of you are bad people. You're all good people, or you wouldn't be in this room and still employed by this company. But these ethical decisions, these mistakes that happen when we make ethical value judgments happen to everyone. There's a study called the Good Samaritan study. They went to the Princeton Theological Seminary, and they gathered a bunch of seminary students, people studying God and righteousness and ethics. And they had them all fill out a survey, and they told them they had to take that survey across campus and deliver it to another place. Half of the students they told to hurry, you got to get there in 5 minutes. The other half of the students, they didn't say hurry, they just said bring it over. Now, on the path between the survey and the destination was an actor who was acting like he was in distress, like he was in need, like he was crying, he was a mess, he was just so totally distraught. The people who were not told to hurry, the seminary students who were just going across, 2/3 of them stopped to help that person in distress. The people that were told to hurry, same group of drawn from seminary students, the people that were told to hurry, only 1 out of 10 stopped. There are a couple lessons in that. First of all, it happens to everyone, from 2/3 to 1 out of 10, because you were told to hurry. And those ethical considerations fade away. Even to seminary students, it happens. The second thing that I think is important to know is that 1/3 of seminary students are still jerks. You're good people, but sometimes you're faced with situations where it's a challenge to know what to do, or more that to even think about weighing the considerations. We can't change human nature, but we can understand human nature so that we can then create systems and environments and checklists and processes and things that make us get to better decisions. We can understand human nature so that we use our human nature for our own benefit, instead of having our human nature used against us. And what I hope to do today, by exposing some of the fudge factors, some of the biases, some of the traps, some of the nudges, these are all terms you may have heard, some of the reasons why we end up making poor ethical decisions, is to help you understand your human nature so that you can again create your own way of getting to better decisions. So we'll start with the fudge factors.